Hey guys, and welcome to No Code Mafia, where we discuss everything and anything in the world of no code. In today's episode, we're going to show you a really cool way to send emails. So, we're going to be using AI, that is ChatGPT3, to be able to create emails and send it to whichever recipient you want. This could be useful to, if you're stuck creating emails that sound and look boring. So, we're going to start out by first of all looking at what we're going to build. So, this is what it's going to be. So this is what we're going to be making, guys. It's basically a simple AI email writer. We'll just put the name as No Code Mafia, recipient name as Amey, recipient email as my personal email ID, and say write an email to tell Amey to wash the dishes on time. And then when I hit submit, it's gonna load, and we're soon gonna see what the AI gives us. So, dear Amey, how are you doing? Hope all is well. Yeah, and this also will be doing states and all that. So you'll be able to understand how this works. And when we hit send email, it should go to my email. So yeah, it should account if I refresh my email ID. Yeah, here you go. So hey, Amey, no code Mafia created an AI email. And how are you doing? Hope all is well. Wanted to make so exactly the same thing. So now that you've seen what we can do with Bubble and ChatGPT3 together, let's try to make it all work. So whatever you're going to see in this video is going to be at the end result that you've just seen. I'll be linking that tool down below. Try it on yourself. Just see how it works. Beware, this is only for educational purposes. I don't want you guys sending emails to people that you don't want to send it to. All right. So let's get started, guys. We have our plain Bubble editor right now, and I'm going to start by just creating the UI, and through the magic of post-production, it's ready. Okay, so now that we have completed the UI for this application, what I've done is I've put like the header as just like one thing, and then inside the list content, I have put this heading, and then I've split it to step 1 loader and step 2. All right, so you'll be understanding exactly why we're doing this in the coming steps. And we're going to be using states, custom states that we put on these groups to kind of control what they do. So let's get started. First things first, you will be needing to go to OpenAI's website. So you just search for OpenAI Chat GPT-3, and you click on this. You're going to go to a page with something like this. You will probably go to this page. So you see OpenAI and all the things that you can do. So today we're going to do text completion. All right. So how to get to where we want to go is, once you reach this page, create an account, confirm it with your email, go to documentation, go all the way down to go to completions. All right. So here you can see you can see everything that's related to this API. So we're going to be using the OpenAI's completions API to somehow create an email. So what you're going to do is, the first step would be go back to Bubble, go to settings, plugins, and you're gonna add a new plugin called API connector. I've already have it added, but you're just gonna add it right now. So what this API connector will allow us to do is, it will allow us to make our API calls from our Bubble app. So we can set a trigger, like when you click the send button, it goes and fetches something or goes and posts something from the API. We're just going to name this OpenAI completions. It can be anything, your name, all right? And your first API call. This is what I always used to get confused. I'm typing, but this is not changing. So what you have to do in this stage is expand, and then only you can change it, which is really irritating, but that's how Bubble works. Anyways, so let's go to this one. We have to get a post request, and we just copy this. All right, copy this, paste it here, and make this post. All right. How will OpenAI know who is sending the request? So there is a way of doing it, which is the authentication. How we're going to have to know how we're going to have to be sending requests. So this will be there for every single API that you use. You will have to create an account with them, like anything like GitHub, Shopify, anything that you will be using it for. You're going to have to create an account with them. Understand how they do authentication. Okay, you have to use it in the -h. Now, if there's anything with -h, it means that it's header. You have to add it in the header. All right. So you just put this authorization and bearer and your API key. Now you're gonna ask me, how do I get the API key? So I'm gonna go to this one, no code mafia, manage account, or no, sorry, view API keys. Was so stupid. Create a new secret key. All right, and give this a second. Perfect. So I can copy this. All right, and go back to my bubble. Create a header like we just mentioned. It needs to be in header. Here we put bearer, and then we put space and put our API key, because that's exactly how OpenAI asked us to mention it. And then we can go back to this one. And by the way, don't copy the same API key. You need a new one. All right. So we go back to this documentation thing, go back to completions, and yeah, so it should be authorization as the key, and then the value will be bearer and your API, like you can see over here. So I have to put authorization here. I have to add another header. It says content type application JSON. This is not essential, but it's a good practice to use it, because then both we and OpenAI will know like what request type this is. All right, so this is what we need to add in the details. What we need to do is we need to send this amount of data. So we need to make sure that this data is there in the request. Like we said, we're going to be sending a post request. Post would mean that from our application, we would be sending data to OpenAI to do whatever calculation or completion that in this case it is. So we're just going to copy and paste this one. Let's leave the model to DaVinci 003. It's the best one that there is. The prompt would say this is a test, and tell me a joke. This is going to be dynamic data, but let's just see if it works. So maximum tokens is probably the size is what I've noticed. So if you put 7, it's probably going to spit out something with 7 characters or something. So let's put something like 20. All right. And temperature is it's something like how creative the AI can be. All right. So just like what you can see here, sampling temperature, higher values means model will take more risks. You need 0.9 for more creative applications. So you know what? Let's create a sort of slider to make it more creative. Do let me know if you want to have that like in the next video. We can try that out. But let's just yeah, I think that's more than enough for us to create an API call. So let's make it 0.9 like they mentioned. And yeah, I think we're good to go. All we need to do is to initialize call. So let's see if this works. We should be getting a success if this should work properly. It's taking a good second to load. Yeah, see, if it's successful, you'll get to know when you see like all these things. The last time you saw, you would have seen an error. So if you want to see this properly, right now it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? So if we go to show raw data, you will be able to see, okay, choices. It's given us one choice, and in the text is given, what did the fish say when we hit the wall? Damn, get it? This is what it's going to give to us, and what we're going to do is we are going to use the same thing inside our application. So I'm just going to be changing this right now to like prompt, right? And here I have to uncheck this private thing so we can edit it in the UI, and just put email, write me an email. This is just demo thing for now. We're not going to actually use this. And I'm going to put like somewhere around 100 for this one so that you guys can check out how it works exactly. And let's go back to, so what we're going to do here is, like I said, we've split it up to step 1 loader and step 2. Why I've done this is because we are going to be setting states for every single step. This is going to make sense in a while. Just let me explain. So let's hide everything that we don't need right now. So let's just only see step 1, where we'll click on the submit button and we'll go to conditional. We'll say when input, what is this one? Input sender name is value empty, or input recipient name value is empty, or input recipient email is value empty, or input prompt value is empty. So what I'm doing is I'm setting a condition for this button saying that if these values are empty, don't submit. All right. So what I'll do is, so when this is true, I'm going to be saying that this element isn't clickable. All right. So, and also it's not clickable. We have to tell the user that it's not clickable. So usually what we do is we go to background color and make sure that this is sort of like a grayed out version like this one. So they'll understand that, okay, I can't click it. Right. And same thing, we go to font color and make sure that it's at 50%. So it looks like it's not clickable. All right. So when we go and preview this, how it's going to look like is, if everything is empty, it's going to not be clickable. You can see that it's not being able to click, as and also because everything is empty, that's why. So let's just fill something out over here, something out here, and something. Immediately once the everything is filled, you can see that the button is clickable. Oh yeah, I'm going to change this on hover thing for every single element. Okay. All right. So we're going to program this button. All right. This button, we're going to start a workflow, and that workflow would be to send what is that, an API call. So that would be, what is the name of this API? We have named it OpenAI, right? And it's not going to be visible because what we have done is right over here. So you can see it's uses as data. I have gotten so confused over the times that I've beginning to started using Bubble. Is if this is on data, you can't use it on workflow. So if you have to have same things for workflow and this thing, you have to make two different APIs. All right. So let me just change this to action. And then if we go and just search for OpenAI, there you go. OpenAI completions comes right up. All right. So now you see the body prompt come up. So what it does is it exactly knows like what we have to send, because we put those small angular brackets, right? So we just put input prompts value. That's it. And then what we have to do is, so this is what I was going to tell you. So once we have we have done this submission, what we have to do is, for index page, we're going to create states. Why we're doing that? That's because we have to understand whether it's loading is in the first step or in the second step. We're just going to use some, in Hindi we call it jugaad, and just create a state like step, for example, which is, it's just going to be a number, and we can put the default value as 1. All right, that's it. So to understand, 1 would be when it's like in the default state. So if it's 1, which is default, which means this step 1 is visible. All right. So then what we're going to do is go to this loader. We're going to put is not visible on page load, collapse when hidden, and put the condition when index step like we made right there is to, it should be visible. Why? Because when we click on submit, what we're going to do is we're just going to make the step to 2 so that the loader is visible. Does that make sense? Let's see how it works. So in this thing, we're going to be setting state index step 2. That's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you're going to see what this is going to happen, what it's going to look like, are you able to see the loader isn't there, right? Let's do one thing. Let's first of all make the last prompt, so step 2, we're going to put the same thing like we did in step 3, except that it's going to be 3. All right, so when index step is 3, element is visible, and we're going to make this not visible on page load, collapse when written, no need to animate the process. We can also do it this way. We can hide step 1. That's good enough for us. Next, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be receiving data from the API, and that should be setting it somewhere, right? We have to set state of say index content. All right, just any name you can choose. Text. Okay, and it's going to be result of step 2 because we've done the completions from here. Result of step 2's choices, first item, uska text. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, once we've set the state, we will put the initial value of step 2's, the AI generated content, the initial value. What we're going to do, we're going to put index content. That's it. So what we're going to see is whenever we submit the API request, we're going to see this AI generated content, and it's going to just show us whatever we got back from this, right? So let's try and see. Let me just see if everything is okay. So going back to the workflow, when we click on submit, what it should do is it should hide step 1. Okay, I want it to show this right in the beginning. It should set the state of index step to 2 before it sends. So I'm just gonna have to just delete this. Oh no. Just gonna copy this, paste it here so that I don't have to deal with it. And then step 2, 3. There you go. Does that make sense? So as soon as you click on the first step, it hides step 1. It hides step 1. And then you see the loading screen, right? Which is because of step 2. And then after that, it sends the request to OpenAI. And then the last step would be setting it to step 3, which would show the last prompt and to show the content of it as well. So sender name, no code, Mafia. Recipient name, something at gmail.com. I wish I could just fill it out automatically, but that's not possible. Prompt would be write me an appraisal for my boss, telling him how awesome I am and I need a raise. Don't we all? So when I hit submit, you can see that it loads, and you can see this this is going, and we get an email response saying that, dear boss, I'm writing to express my appreciation and have consistently gone above and beyond. So this is quite nice. So now that we have got into this stage, we have received something from ChatGPT3, and everything is done. So the only thing that it doesn't do quite well is putting in the names of it. All right. So that's something that we have to do. So now what we have to do is program this redo button and program this send email button. So that should be send email actually. Okay. So let's click on send email, start workflow, and Bubble has this thing where you can send an email like that. Two, we put the input recipient emails value. Okay, sender name value. Okay, we don't CC subject. I'm just going to put subject to something that shouldn't be, misconstrued. So let's not do that. Um, because I don't want someone to misuse this thing that, okay, it could be something legit. So I'm just going to put AI writer email as something that is easy to, understand. So body would be, let's insert dynamic data, and then just put index content. Yeah, that's it immediately. That's it. So yeah, let's make this body. Let's make the subject to be only AI email writer, because I don't want it to be confused with some actual email. And for the indexes content, what we have to do is we haven't considered one last thing. If someone edits this particular thing, like whatever we want to edit over here, if someone edits it, it's not going to get saved. So what we have to do is right click on this, start edit workflow, and create another one for when the input prompts value is changed. So if the value is changed, what we do, we set state, okay, of index, and put the custom state to content, and whatever this input sorry, we have to put the value to this multi-line inputs value. That's it, done. So now we can legit test it out and see how it goes. Let's just make sure that everything is okay. So we have 1 2 3 email. So say hey, and then input recipient names value, and then input sender name value, yeah. Let's check it out. Let me open my mail ID. So I've opened my mail ID, and what I'm gonna do is just refresh, and I'm gonna put the sender name to be no code Mafia. Recipient name is gonna be Amey. Recipient email ID is gonna be my email ID. I'm gonna say write Amey an email to tell him that washing dishes is very important and he missed his turn this week. Okay, this is a really boring email to write up, so I just like write out. Wait for it. So yeah, we can see that subject washing dishes, which I don't really need. So it just says, "Dear Amey, hope you're doing well. Wanted a moment to remind you how important washing dishes. It looks like you missed your turn." I love this. I love this. Okay. Regards. No code Mafia. All right. So when you hit send email, what it should do, it should just send that email, and have I gotten it? Yeah, see, I seem to have gotten it, and the this thing, the subject is hey, Amey, no code Mafia just created an email, AI written email. So guys, that's it. That's it. You guys just learned how to use AI, and it's a really easy application right now. I know it's just something to get you guys started to, but the applications of this are endless. I'm looking into creating a data set for the startup that I'm working for right now, and let's see how it goes. But this is it for this episode, and I hope you've learned something. I hope you like this content. Please do share, like, and subscribe. It helps me a lot. Yeah, if there's any suggestions, please link it down in the comment. I will keep this version also, this AI email writer also linked down below. Do check it out. So, yeah, guys, that's it for this episode. See you next time. No Code Mafia out.